first session is introduction to archival world. So see, we are in archival world. So our colleague in this blog from Archives Portal Europe Foundation, from EXAC, from Spain Archives, from Time Icarus will present what is going on. First of all is our colleague technical director of Archives Portal Europe, Kerstin Arnold. She's here and ready to present what is going on in this world. So Kerstin, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Vlatka. Thank you also for the opportunity to present Archives Portal here. While I'm going to switch to my presentation, which I hope you can all see now. It's a great honor to be here. Unfortunate that we can't be all together in Rijeka. Hopefully there will be many opportunities to do that at some point in the future. So what I would like to do is, I'm just gonna also do this, is just give you an overview of where Archives Portal Europe started and where we are at the moment, how the portal fits into the digital archival landscape, and then look at some of the very specific challenges that we had in creating the portal and that we kind of continue dealing with and continue improving as we move along, ending with a brief outlook of what we are currently working at and what comes next. So it all started in the early noughties with a report from the European Commission on archives in the enlarged European Union. And that was kind of the kickoff that also granted us funding from the European Commission for what was called the APEnet project. That started in 2009 to 2012. And it initially included 13 countries with their national archives, plus Europeana, which also had started out at the same time. This moved on to the APEX project 3 years after that, where we enlarged the group of institutions that were project partners, which also included at that stage Croatia and Icarus as an organization. And since 2015, the portal is supported by a foundation with its main office in the Netherlands, but essentially participants from more or less all over the continent in the meantime. The organization is, so to say, threefold when it comes to the inner circle. So we have the Assembly of Associates, which is essentially the directors of the funding organizations. There's a governing board who does the day-to-day management. And we are a very small team of 3 people in the foundation staff, but we are supported by a large network from all around the continent, with specifically to mention the country managers, which are essentially representatives into each of the countries that we are working with and making their connections to the local archival communities. The portal as it stands at the moment has kind of 3 main areas of information that we present. We start out with general information about institutions, which is contact information, opening hours, link to their website, and any further information that institutions want to give users. We currently have a repository of 600,000 finding aids or descriptions of collections and fonts held at those institutions. And we have got 27,000 descriptions of records creators to provide some context to those collections. So how does the portal fit into the digital archival landscape? If you remember the maps that I showed at the beginning, you can see that we are on a good way, so to say, in terms of covering all the different countries in Europe. There are still a few missing, and we are working in kind of getting that arrow furthermore to the right. Where we are not that good at the moment is kind of expanding the various types of institutions that we are including. So that's another area that we're working at. We started out with the National Archives and we expanded that mainly, let's say, through the various administrative levels, so including regional and local archives. We've got a big community of university archives that have joined us since 2015 specifically. But we know there are so many different other institutions with archival holdings, which we also want to get into the portal and being part of the network at some point. In terms of the content that is presented in the portal, we concentrate on metadata. We also have digital objects, but it's not a requirement to participate in the portal to have something digitized. And there also is the point that we are mainly working with analog information that has been digitized, not that much with digital born information, which also has to do with the fact that the portal is mainly presenting information that is publicly available. And most of what is born digital is just too young to already be kind of out in the open, so to say. In terms of the variations of description levels, what essentially all our partners start with is essentially the description of their institution. And then it very much depends on the situation and on the possibilities that the institutions have, how far and how fast they want to move along in providing essentially item level descriptions and, if available, digital objects. Ways to deliver to the portal are also various. At the beginning, we mainly worked with single institutions. This in the last 5 to 6 years has increasingly moved towards our cooperation with national aggregators, so national archival portals or national archives administrations that provide a common database that is used in the country or some similar service where we already gather information from various institutions of that country, which then comes in bulk, so to say, to the Archives Portal Europe. But we are still also cooperating with single institutions, so that's always a possibility. Looking at the specific challenges that Archives Portal Europe has, the first one is we are multicultural. We cover 30 plus countries at the moment, and we are multi-institutional. And with that, we also come to the point that there are very different approaches, even though there might be certain parts of commonality. And we very early onwards made the decision that we want to show these different approaches, so not kind of standardize everything and make everything look the same. And that also led us to the point where we said, okay, how can we make clear for a user where certain information comes from? And one possibility is in our search results. So we have filters by country and by institution, which can be used in combination with each other, but also with other filters that we have. We have the possibility to highlight the country and the institution in the specific search results themselves. And we also have a possibility to already do that at the very beginning. So when you start your search, you can already say, I'm specifically interested in information from Croatia, for example, about the topic of Rijeka. But you can also add other countries or pick specific institutions that you're interested in if you're looking at institutions that are local to you. And then we also have this page where we provide information to contact the institutions, which is linked to essentially all the material that an institution has provided to Archives Portal Europe. So there's a direct connection between the information about the institution and the material that they hold. And we also have that in the presentation of the archival material itself. So you can see there always is the indication of the institution at the very top. And at the bottom of the archival descriptions, there also is a possibility to get in direct contact with the archive that has provided the information if there are any kind of research questions, or if you're looking for a digital presentation of something as a user, then you can get in direct contact with the institutions rather than going via the Archives Portal Europe. The other challenge that we have is that we are currently operating on 20 plus languages. That refers to the content, it refers to the interface, and it also refers to the search, although I have to admit that the search still is something that certainly can be improved in many ways. The The content itself remains in the language of origin. We have a few institutions that have decided to also provide English translations, specifically of titles, but those are mainly institutions that also use a different alphabet. So for example, Greece, or we've got one institution from Israel who have joined us, or our colleagues in Georgia. The user interface, on the other hand, has been translated, very much thanks to all the colleagues around the continent who actually have provided those translations to make it easier for users to at least kind of get a sense of what they are looking at. And in terms of the searching, the way that we are dealing with the multilinguality at the moment is that we allow searching with multilingual terms, which also includes searching with terms in different scripts. And if you start using the functionality to match at least one of those words that you're searching for, you can cover a broad range of information from different countries in different languages and scripts at the same time. So how do we connect all these different institutions and their collections? Is there a possibility to do that? And while we have the possibility to kind of showcase specific institutions on their own, we have decided to make connections via themes or topics. So what we are offering at our homepage is essentially an entry point via a subject-based search. Those subjects have been translated also again by our partners, and they are connected to the metadata that it's running in the background. So for example, if you click on the genealogy topic in either the English, the French, or the German interface, you would get results also from other countries, like in this example, Latvia, Poland, and France, on the topic of genealogy. So this allows us to make connections more obvious, so to say, from the user point of view. Which already brings me to the last bit, the outlook. We are currently working on a redesign of Archives Portal Europe, and I'm just going to present a snippet of that in this presentation. So this is how the homepage will look like in the new design. And there are specifically some new features around how users engage with the content in the portal. So one thing is that we want to allow users to make suggestions. For example, to assign something that they found while searching to a specific topic that is already available in the portal. But they can also suggest translations, which we might be able then to use and provide to other users in the context of the portal. They could connect some piece of information that they found in the portal to another resource like a Wikipedia page. And there also is a possibility to upload. So if someone has been at an archive and has taken pictures of archival material as part of their research, there would also be a possibility for them to upload that. And we would then be able to kind of make use of this in the context of the portal. And this also filters back into, so to say, the back end of the portal. So we will extend the functionalities for registered users, specifically also providing possibilities for researchers to engage with each other. And that mainly comes back to the possibility to save their searches, to set bookmarks on specific pages, but also to then create their own collections and make those collections public and get feedback and maybe share with the team and share with others to just engage. And with this, I'm going to leave you to think about questions. As Vlatka mentioned earlier, please just put them in the chat. I can pick up on them while we go along, or otherwise I'm looking forward to them at the end of this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kerstin. Kerstin maybe just didn't mention that tomorrow also will be workshop for those who want to know more about Archives Portal Europe, or actually how to do all these things that you present now.